All right. What is up, y'all? Will here with Schedulefly. And this is another episode of Restaurant Owners Uncorked, brought to you by us here at Schedulefly. Super simple, web-based restaurant employee scheduling software backed by legendary customer service and all at a low price point. My personal cell phone is on the website on like 3 pages, so you can call me or text me if you want to learn more about Schedulefly. I'd be happy to talk to you. Our pricing hasn't changed since we hung our shingle out on the internet May 1st, 2007. That's literally the case. We've never raised our prices in 18 years. And we have about 5,000 restaurants, just over 5,000 restaurants using Schedulefly very happily. We have a 30-day free trial. You're welcome to go in, check out the free trial. No credit card, no obligation. We don't have salespeople. We just take great care of the people that come into our world. If you are on pencil and paper or Excel and scheduling and communication with your team is not a breeze and it's giving you a headache, we got some simple, effective aspirin for you. If you are on another scheduling provider, Hot Schedules or Seven Shifts or one of these other ones that's venture backed or owned by private equity or publicly traded as part of a point of sale system, you are more than likely paying too much and you have more complication with that tool than you need. We don't have to please our venture capital or private equity investors. We just have to run this business profitably. So save yourself some money, give yourself a little joy, have some great customer service, give us a shot. We'd love to earn your business. Okay. So that is Schedule. And this is Restaurant Owners Uncorked. And we are now, oh gosh, we are over 600 episodes and 15 years into doing this. I feel like we're just getting started. We have so many opportunities to speak with so many great people that own and run restaurants all around the country. And we have a wonderful opportunity today to speak with my buddy Ross, who's a customer. And Ross, I just wanted to have you briefly introduce yourself and we'll get jamming.
Great, good to be here, Will. I'm Ross Davis. I'm a lifelong restaurant person, if you will, and yeah, shared up and in contact with you here and there through Schedulefly for years. So good to be here.
Tell us about your restaurants and where you're located.
So we we have a couple of restaurants. The one that I'm over is Rev Max, and it's in Oklahoma City. We have a sister restaurant called Aurora that is in the Plaza District here in Oklahoma City as well. So Rev Max is the Mexican concept, and Aurora is more brunch, all day cafe type food.
So, been in the restaurant business for a really long time. How did it all start, man? What was what was your first? Were you bussing tables or washing dishes somewhere as a teenager to make money, or how did it get started?
uh, Randomly, I think my dad had kind of had enough of me laying around, in his words. So I I went to a restaurant kind of on a whim, called Good Eats, uh, and it was everything that it sounds like, and started waiting tables uh, there, just kind of straight off, and it didn't go really well when I started. I'd say I was a little more outspoken and unpolished at that point, but really pretty quickly kind of spoke to me uh, as far as just just the hustle, how everyone pulls together, and just wanted to be the best and to excel at everything that I do. And there was really no turning back after that. Um, and I've been in it ever since.
Yeah, it's you got it in your DNA. You kind of have to have it, I think, in your DNA, because it is a rewarding business, but it's also a very, very challenging business. And if you don't really, really love the rewards that come with it, those challenges can be overwhelming.
Oh man. Yeah, 100%. It's after doing it for really not that long, you kind of can feel if someone is a restaurant person or not. It definitely takes a certain type of person that's going to be willing to run a sprint within the marathon multiple times a day and really really care about what they're doing. It can definitely be difficult for people. It's quite funny. I was promoted to being a managing partner, and I was telling this to my hairdresser, and she was like, "Oh my God, like I'm so sorry." I mean, they were all like, like I was forced into this, like, "Oh, I I can't believe that you're doing that. That is just so much work." And I'm like, I wanted this, right? Like this is what I do. I love this, but it's kind of funny, especially people outside of the restaurant business. They don't really know how it is, and they just kind of hear, "Oh, it's so hard," or "It's so many hours," or this or that. But pretty much everybody that's in it is there for a reason, and it's because they like what they do.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's it. I mean, it's because they like what they do. You've got to have that in there because it's hard. It's a lot of hours. It's like you said, you're running a sprint within a marathon every day. That's a great way to put it. There's like, I always say there's either hopefully not a literal fire, but there's certainly metaphorical fires that you're kind of having to put out all the time. But the flip side of that is the reward of, whether it's um, building a cohesive team and mentoring young people and helping them, a lot of times in their first job, learn and grow, or whether it's the delight you have with inviting members of the community in to experience a great respite from life, whether it's, to celebrate something or to mourn something or to hang with their family and be intentional with family or see their friends and be a part of that and make that experience special for them and memorable for them. If you love that, it's a great business. And it's a business that we've been joking lately. I've been some of the folks I've had on the podcast, I say, I'm not a fan of any sort of like big government mandates like, going into the military or something like that. But I wouldn't mind if they made every teenager like work in a restaurant for a year. I think you learn so much. I mean, that's our rule in our house for sure. You have to go work in a restaurant because you just learn a ton about so many different aspects of business and life that will carry over into anything. I mean, if you can keep your cool during a super busy, jam-packed Friday night restaurant shift when, you know, um, everything is just the place is packed and something's going wrong or some customer's upset but you got to maintain your cool and communicate and keep the team moving and keep the guests happy. Like all the things you learn, the skills you learn are very transferable. And if you can hold your cool and work well under the fire of being in a restaurant, um, there's not many other jobs that you're going to have where you're not going to be like, oh, I got this. No big deal. Like the things that people think maybe in corporate America are like some huge hair on fire deal. You're like, like this isn't that big of a deal. This,
Right, right. This is a busier than average Tuesday evening. Um, yeah,
yeah,
it's
that's right. Exactly. Exactly.
and and trust me, I've done a lot of thinking about it, and obviously I love this. I love the stress. I love all of it, and kind of like you said, things that people are just stressing out about. I love. I thrive on that. I like the chaos. I like being able to definitely help and be able to direct and help and have complete confidence that it's going to be fine. I mean, and doing this now for just a few years, about uh, I was thinking about it before I came on. I think 29 years I've been doing this. Um, but at this stage, I've trained probably 1,000 servers and uh, managed countless people, and that's kind of what I tell them. So I've seen, literal generations come through and try to help them. And the main thing is obviously you want to do a great job and calm down. It's going to be fine and do your best. But at the end of the day, no one's going to die. I mean, no one is, you're not going to leave here, wounded in any way other than your pride, maybe. Um,
Right.
which, definitely is always on the table, I suppose. But yeah, and I see people freaking out or being anxious. And after dealing with people and being around people for so long, you can just kind of see it. It's just kind of palpable on someone's face that they're definitely very anxious. And it's like, just calm down. I know that you're really upset that you forgot the sour cream for your table, but it is going to be fine. Like, oh, can you see that? Can you see that I'm anxious? Yeah, yes, I definitely can. And so can your table. And again, just remember, it's fine. At the end of the day, they're going to leave and hopefully be super happy, and you were going to be happy and learn from this. And you just move on and get better. It's great. I remember the first time uh, aging in this business, someone was like, I kind of look up to you as kind of a mentor. And I'm thinking, I'm not that old. Like, what do you mean? Mentor? Oh, that was
Yeah,
that
bro.
was that was a thing, for a minute. And obviously, but I've definitely come to terms with that. And that's something that is a great and rewarding part of this business as well, being able to have seen that through multiple cuisines and years, um, and being able to help people is definitely a rewarding part of my job for sure.
You have, yes, yes, I get that. I had to get past that after, I don't I mean, I'm 51 now. I remember when I was like, when people call, like, I live in North Carolina, so ma'am and sir or whatever, and people would say, I'm not sir, like, what are you talking? I'm Will. Like, like,
Right.
but yeah, it's really cool, to have these opportunities to mold young. But you've had a big influence on a lot of people. I was just talking to a restaurant owner about this yesterday, Scott Maitland at Top of the Hill Restaurant and Brewery in Chapel Hill. I mean, they've been doing. He's had that place for like 30 years, and we were just talking about his the impact that you have on. Because I guess somebody came back and was thanking him or whatever, and he's like, I never really thought about the fact that, like, I've taught a lot of people stuff that they've carried on in life, and you know he's like, I guess I'm a bit of a mentor. I'm like, yeah, dude, you're a big time mentor. A lot of people. There's a guy, dude. Man, when I got out of college, I had this job lined up in September, but I graduated May, and so I was working at this. It was sort of like a Chipotle thing. It was down in Ponte Vedra Beach. It's called Sierra Grill, and so they were like there before some of these other ones. But I think they just kind of stayed local. But I had to make like the salsas, and I'd like shred cheese and do all this prep work. And I'll never forget Paul, my manager. I mean, I was like super messy, and like I just didn't, I didn't care if there was like all the shredded cheese I would leave on the prep counter, and he would come up and he would pinch like this, like just enough of just a pinch of shredded cheese, and he would hold it up and he'd go, money, money, money. Because it was like the cheese that I left, like I was done. He's like, what's all this cheese? I'm like, I don't know. I just, he's like, dude, money, money, money. And I was like, what is this guy talking about? And then I learned, how, I mean, the restaurant is a business of pennies, really. And all that stuff adds up and it matters. And you have to be mindful of that. And sure enough, this was in 1996 in Jacksonville, Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. And just a few years ago, I walked into, there's a place here, and I don't know if they extend out your way. It's called Salsaritas, but again, it's like sort of like a Chipotle kind of place.
Mhm.
30 years later almost, and there's Paul, and he's running the Salsaritas. He was like a regional manager or something like that. We laughed about that story. He was like, yeah, dude, you were an idiot. But I like, we've stayed in touch now. He's over with IHOP, and like he's here in Charlotte now, and we keep in touch now. But I count him as a like he really taught me, like, you have to, things that you don't realize are important when you're young. And then somebody tries to impart that on you and you still don't really get it. And then as you get a little older, you start to go, oh, I get what that
Right.
guy was saying. Ah, wow. That makes a lot. I get it now, you know?
Oh, certainly. Certainly. I think probably some of the wisest, I don't know about wise, but I would say the best, uh, I guess, experience that I have. I don't think I can repeat any of it because, again, that was about 1998. So it was definitely a different restaurant culture at that point. But I came to my shift, and let's just say I wasn't in my best form. I had stayed up late, drinking milk and telling stories or whatever. And I showed up to work at this place. We had a few tableside items that we made, which is always just a favorite. So we had a tableside guacamole that we made, which is fantastic. And I probably made 480 metric tons of it. But I was performing rather slowly, and my manager kept trying to get eye contact with me, and I was still kind of new to the game, so I kind of kept rotating, and he kept going to the other side of me to make eye contact to let me know that I was doing a poor job. So I finished, I folded it up, and I got going, and I was going to the back, and to paraphrase, he said, "Sir, I would really appreciate it if you would move your tail in a quicker manner." And I said, "What?" He said, "I, again, sir, will say this. Please, at your earliest convenience, move much quicker." And then at this point, I think he has veins popping out of his head, and he's very animated. And he says, "It is not their fault that you came to work ill prepared today. It
Mm,
has nothing to do with them that you couldn't handle going to bed on time and coming to work and performing your job." And
wow.
and I was like, whoa. Uh, and I had a pretty tumultuous relationship with this particular general manager of this place. I would say that he was pretty quick to yelling and screaming. So,
Mm,
which I was very accustomed to from my dad. They have a similar a similar communication style. So I was right at home. And so towards the end of the shift, I go to him, and I mean, every restaurant has the tiniest office that you can imagine, and everything jammed into it. It had this sliding door. And I said, "Hey, Dennis, I wanted to talk to you for a second." So he very gently slams this rolling door, and he's like, "What is it? What is it? What do you have to say? What do you have to say?" It's like, "Well, Dennis, I've been thinking about it, what you said earlier." It's like, "Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah." It's like, "You are completely correct. You I never thought of it that way. Um, and you are completely right." and thank you so much for it. And I guess I can be a little sarcastic at times. So he's like looking at me and he's just kind of waiting for a punchline, I guess.
Right.
And then he looks at me with disgust and says, "Get the crap out of my office, sir. I would like that immediately." And he was really mad about it because he thought I was joking. And we laughed about it, of course, later. And I've seen him tons of times, and always and still to this day, that manager in the back of my head, always when I'm
Mhm.
thinking that um, I'm never moving fast enough. I'm never doing good enough. I need to move much quicker, my friend, or whatever paraphrasing goes. But he very, very influential, and he is still running restaurants there in Fort Worth in Texas. And man, that has had a profound effect on me throughout my life, pretty much for everything. And man, I'll always be grateful for that.
Man, that's awesome. What a freaking cool story. I'd love to I'd love to sounds like a good dude to have on this podcast. I wonder, this was many years ago, right? Did this happen?
Hmm. Yeah.
Do you think that guy still has that same management style? And I ask that because I think it's hard to have that management style in today's time with this workforce. What do you think?
Well, I would say no, but so obviously I went on to manage with them, and I started, I mean, I very quickly moved up the ranks there. So I started at the Good Eats place, which was, just basically it's the type of place, if you don't know what cobbler that we have, then you get it for free. I mean, it was basically a struggle of not the best patrons, and but the food was great, the service was great. But when I left there, um, I moved to the other place, and that culture was really, really wild. I mean, yelling, screaming, people crying on the daily. I mean, I can't. I probably saw two or three people just literally take their apron off and drop it on the ground and leave. It was just
Yeah.
the stress and all of that would just break people. It was a completely different time, and that's just how a lot of restaurants operated. And that
Yeah.
was, I mean, that was just the culture. That was it. And it would either make a very sharpened steel, or you would only have a few people working there. And I saw plenty of that, and there was plenty of yelling going on. And I mean, trying to to tell the younger folks about it. I mean, it's just like, yeah, every chef was Gordon Ramsay, and every manager was Gordon Ramsay. That's kind of the what you could liken it to get them to kind of understand that. Um, and being a part of that, I too was in that style, in that style as well. And for years and years when I was in Texas, and then I moved to Oklahoma, and it was just not like that. I mean, it's way more laid back, just way laid back, because where I worked, it was just go 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 all the time. I mean, there was not a second to be wasted ever. And it was such a culture shock, really, to come here, being cut from that cloth, and doing that. Whenever I left Texas, I decided to go back because I had been a manager, an assistant general manager to that restaurant for a few years, and then decided I want to reclaim some of my life back because within all those structures, I was working just a ton, just so much, and had zero energy or time for anything really. So just kind of on a whim, decided to move to Oklahoma and be a server. And I, I mean, again, I was just like going 1,000 miles an hour, and people were literally like, "Dude, you're making people uncomfortable." I'm like, "What? Like, you're sorting silver? I'm sorting silverware too fast? Whoa, hey, slow down. Look out for this guy." But it was just kind of, you just carry that restaurant speed,
Yeah.
and it was definitely a big adjusting period. And I think I waited tables for another 10 years. And in that 10 years, I calmed down so much. Um, I mean, it really took that, I think, as far as, because when I first moved here, the goal was to start a restaurant and do all that. And my 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 ex-wife slash current girlfriend was was
Oh, wait, what'd you
wa-
just say? Did you
yeah,
repeat that?
yeah,
Go
it's a lot to unpack. So yes, my ex-wife slash current girlfriend. So she's been around for most of this, but we moved together, and when we moved here and started in restaurants, um, she was like, "I don't think that there's anybody here that could work for you as an employee." And I was like, "Oh man, I think you're right." So I did take about 10 years. I didn't want to go back into the management side of it. And finally, I did and got back into it. And it was actually pretty funny because, as the aforementioned um, current girlfriend, whenever we reconnected, the first thing that she asked me, she was like, "So, how do these kids handle it when you scream at them?" And I said, "I don't scream at anybody anymore." And she said, "Okay, let me rephrase that. When you yell at them." And I said, "Okay, I don't yell at them anymore. I don't yell anymore, like at all." And it took some convincing, but being a product of that environment, and she worked through all that as well, and it you become a part of it. That's what you do. And then as you get older, you either evolve or you die. I mean, that's it. You can't do the same thing that you did 20 years ago or 25 years ago. That's not how things work. I have completely changed my management style all the time. And apparently I reference it uh, enough to where one of my favorite employees that is definitely I would say a protege of mine. He when we were out, he said, "You know how I know you've never been nicer in your life?" Like, no. And he's like, "Because you tell me all the time."
Funny.
Like,
I like that.
well, I mean,
I like that, man. That's
but
cool.
yeah,
Well, it's good that you have. I mean, times have changed and the culture has changed and the expectations have changed. And, that fast pace, like work hard, play hard culture that was the restaurant culture for so long led to a lot of substance abuse issues, mental health issues, people just grinding until they couldn't take it anymore. And so it's a,
yes,
and that's changing. In fact, speaking of changing, I'm curious, like, what is changing now, in the like restaurant world? What seems to be changing, what I'm hearing is, I'm curious what, if this is what you're seeing, is that people are drinking less alcohol. I keep reading that alcohol sales are down. People aren't drinking as much
Yep.
alcohol. I think they're taking gummies and shrooms and stuff like that, and to
Mhm.
relax. And they're not drinking as much. And of course, alcohol is a profit center for restaurants. So what are y'all seeing?
Oh, we on the business side, I mean, it's never been better as far as our sales. We definitely have our house margaritas is just amazing, and that I've never worked at a place where there was such uh, an overwhelming stronghold on alcohol sales as our margaritas, and people go for that
Really?
immediately. Oh
Okay.
man, it is. We sell a ton. I mean, and it's so really, but then again, people are coming to a place for it. I would say, me personally, in observation over the last 10 years, I would say that the kids definitely drink less by a lot. And again, I'm in Oklahoma, so if you throw a tennis ball on a ricochet, it might hit another dispensary. There are dispensaries on every, for marijuana, so that is super
Oh, really?
prevalent. Oh yeah, I mean there. I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere when Oklahoma legalized uh, marijuana, we had more dispensaries than Colorado within a year.
That's weird. I would not have guessed that about Oklahoma. I
Oh,
would think
same, man.
Colorado would have a lot of them, but I wouldn't guess that about Oklahoma. I always think of like, I don't know, kind of clean cut middle America.
Anywhere
Like,
else, yeah. I mean, it's I could not believe that that passed. To be honest, I mean, I saw that it was on the docket, and I'm like, oh my, there is no chance. And I was actually out of town, and people started texting me like, dude, it's legal. And it just, you know, Oklahoma is great. Uh, but they, a lot of things, it's almost, they didn't have any infrastructure in place. It was just like the Wild West here.
yeah.
I mean, it was just like, okay, weed's legal. Everybody go. It's just like the land run or something all over. Just anybody could have a dispensary and they're everywhere. So definitely, I would say that the younger generation is a lot smarter in a lot of regards. I mean, um, they, no one really smokes cigarettes, but on the flip side, everyone smokes vapes, or a lot of people do. And in Oklahoma, definitely gummies, um, weed cartridges are, I would say, more prevalent in the restaurant industry than drinking. You know, the owners of my restaurant, whom I've known for years. I mean, we definitely uh, like to have some drinks, and some of the kids are like, "Hey, man, you want to go out for a beer?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, that sounds great." And we'll have a beer. And they're like, "Okay, I'm ready to leave." I'm like, "What?" Like, well, yeah, I said I was going to have a beer. I'm like, well, I didn't think you meant it. Like,
Yeah. Unmotivated more. Right. Exactly.
like the proverbial one beer is actually being done. Okay, well, but in a lot of regards, they're like, that's crazy. Why would I poison myself? Why would I do that? Like, well,
Yeah.
stop making sense, child.
Stop making sense. I love it. But you guys, okay, so you're selling, that's interesting. What about, wh- what else is changing? I mean, you've had I hear sort of at a macro level, people are going out less, food costs keep going up. I mean, how are things going for y'all right now?
We are doing really well
Awesome.
actually, but it's kind of it's definitely something that you have to adapt to in real time, you know. Definitely food costs are it's through the roof. It's absurd. All of it. It's just absurd and anybody can tell, you know, go get your Big Mac meal and supersize that. I mean, you see what that cost is. The last round of menus that we did, we we just, you know, again, try to think outside of the box and started actually lowering prices on things. We kind of have a taqueria business model, right? So it's individual tacos, and we do have entrees and quesadillas and all that, but so essentially someone can come in and get a taco, and instead of it being a taqueria sized taco, which is tiny, I mean, we serve enormous tacos. I mean, they you could make two or three out of the meat that we have. So just seeing kind of how restaurants are struggling and all that, we decided to have a $10 lunch special all the time, right? So we just kind of kept adding things to it. And so it's a, a big taco, two sides, and a fountain drink for $10. And which is just kind of wild because you can't, when I go out to eat, it seems like I can't walk out the door anywhere for less than $17. Um,
Oh,
and people, especially people from out of town, they're like, now what is that? Yes, it's right here. And they're like, how can you do that? Well, I mean, by by trying to do everything else better, to try to control all the things that you can, you know, to get a lot tighter on your ordering, on your recipes, on sourcing things. I mean, down to spices. You know, pretty much every restaurant is going to have a big delivery service that you can get everything from, right? I mean, you can get everything from your trash bags, you know, to your brulee cups and um, everything that you need. So it does take a little more time instead of paying four times what you should for chipotle powder. You source that out from somewhere else to try to, you know, you just try to, you know, as you said earlier, it's a money, money, money. I mean, everything that you look at in a restaurant is money. Everything that you see, and it's razor thin for the margins, and you just have to tighten up where you can on everything. So um, again, you want to have a good perceived value. You definitely want to have a good product, and you want to do it in the best way that you can. And hopefully, you can surround yourself with people who buy in and who care about what they're doing and understand that it might seem like you were trying to save every penny because you are, and they kind of share that, and then you hopefully just have a good vibe within your restaurant, and that will just transfer to the floor, and you know your guests that come in see it, and that's just kind of one of those things that I love hearing from our guests. Like, you guys seem like you'd have a really good time. Like, well, we do. I mean, we do. It is fun. Um, and we do take care of stuff. We last year we went through a period where there was just kind of a lot of uncertainty, you know, with the upcoming election and everything, where people were just really not going out to eat as much, and we had to really cut back on the support staff that we had. You know, I mean, we had an expo for every shift, we had a host for every shift, and just like life, sometimes you just got to roll with the punches, and sometimes that means you just work harder and you redefine what roles that you have or what you're doing, what kind of ground that you cover, and people pull together, and you just have to make those decisions sometimes. And so we were very fortunate to have a lot of people with us that really were able to adapt and roll with the punches. And because of it, uh, we're a much stronger restaurant. And um, I, I love that. The another great comment that I had, I mean, because we don't really have a host except for the busiest shifts now. So we just all kind of do it, it's just all big teamwork. And whenever the DoorDash driver came in, it's probably been a couple of weeks ago. I came up and asked if someone had been to help her, and she said, "Honestly, you're the third person that's asked me if someone has been to help." And I said, "Oh, well, that's great." And she said, "I was in the restaurant business for 18 years. I have to DoorDash now because I hurt my back. And of all the places that I go, I like coming here the most because I'm always greeted immediately. Everybody seems like they're in a good mood. And I always know that I'm going to be taken care of, even though I'm not eating here." And that, I mean, that's just fantastic. I mean, obviously getting any of the compliments, but especially those type of things, I think mean more than someone saying, I love my enchilada, or, it's just kind of because that speaks more to the kind of the entirety of the staff and how everyone is kind of firing on all cylinders.
Amen. Amen. That's it right there, man. That's why you do what you do, right? For
Yes.
comments like that.
Yeah.
Um, there's that saying, people don't remember what you said, but they remember how you make them feel. And I mean, when you make people feel like that, look, it's rare these days. The thing is, it's so uncommon and so rare these days to find an experience with a company, whether it's a restaurant or a software business or you name it. It's so rare to find an experience that you're kind of like, wow, that was a really good experience, because
You're right.
the
Right.
bar is so low. So I always say it's like good and bad. The bar is low, so it kind of sucks for us as consumers because it's hard to get good service in a lot of places, and like
Yes.
anything we do. But as a business owner, that's awesome because it enables you to differentiate your business in such a way that it makes it memorable and people want to come back for more. And um, it's not complicated. This isn't this, this is not
Right.
rocket science. This is like doing the basic things that I mean, you and I, dude, I know we grew up on this. Like, look people in the eye, be present, be intentional, thank them for being there, put others
Yes.
first, like serve with a servant's heart. Like, if you just do those things, people are like blown away. And it's like,
Yes.
that's just like basic stuff, isn't it? It's not anymore.
Right.
Yeah, and
Right. It is
unfortunately
not.
yeah, like for our culture, it sucks because it's not. But if you run a business, you have an advantage if you just get those basics right every day. And there was a guy, do you know Keith Paul at a Good Egg Dining out there in
I
Oklahoma City?
do. I do. I actually worked with him for a few years.
He came on this podcast. Well, he was one of the first people. I mean, this is like literally 15 years ago.
Oh wow.
And I wrote this book called Restaurant Owners Uncorked back in 2010. So I think I interviewed him in like '09. And he um he said something I'll never forget. I mean, I literally think about it all the time. I even think about it within our own business. He said, we don't really do a lot of advertising. We don't do a lot of marketing. We focus on what's happening inside our four walls. And I thought, man, like, because that's what you can control, right? Like,
Hmm.
you have a laser focus on that, on what's happening when somebody walks in the door. You can make that a great experience every time if you want, if you're really, really focused on it. And I mean, that line has hit home to the point that, I mean, I remember it specifically, 15 years later. And I think about it with Schedulefly. I think about, like, I got competitors that collectively have raised over $1 billion. They do a lot of advertising, a lot of partnership, a lot of everything. I can't compete with that. But when somebody comes inside our virtual four walls and they enter the Schedulefly community, I can control what that experience is like, and I can control how we treat them and how we follow up with them, and whether we answer the phone when they call, whether we reply to their email quickly and not 48 hours later. Like, I can control that. And that's you know, I'll lean into that always.
Well, and you do. I again, I have we've used Schedule Fly for I think all the restaurants that, and it started with with Keith Paul's business um, years ago, and then when I got back into managing here, I forget what scheduling service that we had, and I switched our restaurant over to Schedule Fly, and I think anything that I've needed, you personally have responded to it. And I was like, what? Owner? What is doing is responding to that? Wow. And it's always been very prompt and fantastic. And over the years, you and I have exchanged emails, and it's always been that personal touch that has definitely kept me with Schedulefly, and that definitely does mean a lot. I mean, it just, if someone is intentional and someone cares, and you can tell that someone cares, those are the type of people I want to give my business to. We also have Restaurant 365 right now, which includes free scheduling, and I purposely do not use that and still use Schedulefly because of it.
Mm,
And
thank you.
yeah, I mean, and it's and it was definitely my intention to come on here and plug Schedulefly, but if but it is definitely intentional, and you can feel it. And that's it. And again, it's like that restaurant feel. Like, you definitely want to make people feel good and that you're working on their behalf, and it means something.
Well, that dude, thank you. That was not necessary, and I do appreciate that very much. I'm curious. The Restaurant 365 thing's been interesting because they do. We've actually had people that have put in an R365, and then they're like, so we're going to use that for scheduling, and then they come back, they're like, never mind, because
Yeah,
that's not their strong point. I mean, they'll tell you that. I've
right.
they'll say that's not, what they're um really, that's actually a weak point for them, and they'll readily admit it. And so that's been an interesting conversation. How how long have you guys had that?
We're I'd say about 8 or 9 months.
Okay, so you're still early on, like you're probably still.
Yes.
Okay, yeah,
Yes, it is a beast,
yeah.
um, of a program. We spent hmm, probably about 6 hours yesterday just putting data into it, and it's 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 one of those things that can be definitely intimidating because it's just gigantic. I mean, I think it would make a lot more sense to use if you had 5 restaurants. You know what I mean? It's just like for bigger things, but it's just one of those things. You got to put a lot of time into it. You got to keep up with it and then stay on top of it, because if you don't for a little while, and then invoices start to pile up and this and that, it can be a daunting task, I would say. But I think when we get it firing on all cylinders, it'll be fantastic. It's just a lot of legwork in the beginning.
Sounds like it. Yeah, it seems like they have a harder time with. that probably that under five, um, a lot of the bigger ones do. Keith uses it. The Good Egg uses it. They switched their scheduling over to it. I mean, they've got like whatever 15 or 20 locations now. But I talked to him and I was like, if we integrated with Restaurant 365, would you go back to schedule fly? He's like, in a second. He's like, they're
Yeah.
scheduled. So we'll see. But that's interesting. Yeah. Well, um, so it sounds like you guys are I'm glad to hear this, man. Business is going well. It sounds like you're having fun and business is going well, and you guys are doing good work out there in Oklahoma City. What's next for y'all?
Well, I think the goal would be the RevMax model, I think would be great to try to duplicate at some point. That that would be great. I think that the profit margins are as something that can transfer into another building, and that would be the hope. Um, I would think is getting that, and I mean, sky's the limit. Our salsa is good enough to package up and sell. It's just a good product that can continue to get better. And I've spent most of my career in Mexican and Southwest cuisine. Um, and that goes hand in hand with tequila. So I've been dealing with tequila for that long, and it's it's just kind of one of those things. Tequila has just in the last few years really hit a fever pitch. No one cared about tequila until a few years ago. I mean, at all.
Right.
Uh, the place that I was talking about earlier with the very friendly, um, mild-tempered manager, we had 250 tequilas, and that was in 2000. But
Oh my
people
gosh.
only cared about margaritas, and now people actually come in and ask for tequilas, and so there's just kind of a whole another level there, and Mexican food is definitely not going anywhere, and it's I would imagine that's what we'd want to do next, but who knows? It's again making sure that your house is in order first.
Yeah.
That's just something that I've seen many restaurant groups try and fail, is to get a little taste of money and then think that they can put out five in the same area and just not perform, not execute to the same level. Go to any second location, and if the owners aren't there, or if their favorite server is not there, it just kind of doesn't have that same energy. So it's just it's one of those things that everything will have to be right, um, for that to happen, because you don't you want to have 100% product when you start somewhere new. You don't want to just hopefully make it. You want to have all your ducks in a row before you do that. So hopefully just continue to build on the success that we have with repeat business and organic growth, and get enough tent poles underneath us to where we can hopefully expand in a way that makes everyone happy.
How do you know when you're there? You bring up a great point, Ross, is people that expand too quickly and it doesn't go the way they would have anticipated. How do you know when you're ready?
I would I would say if I had more more than enough management and key employees, hourly managers, and uh, kitchen, because it all comes from within. I think the biggest thing that I see is for expansion is greed. It's like, oh well, we got to strike while the iron's hot, and our name is hot right now. Let's make another one, and you don't have the people. I would say it comes from within, and it comes from your staff, and it comes with with people who care. You cannot teach speed, and you cannot teach care. You cannot teach someone to care. So I would say, I mean, obviously, and money. You need a lot of that, but to expand. But if money is the given, if money is that, then I would say you just need enough people to fill your building with the same energy that made you successful. And hopefully you can split your time between those two places. Um, and then hopefully from there you get another person that can split between the two places and so forth and so on. Um, but if you're selling your hospitality and your service and your intention, it's got to be across the board, because the last thing anyone wants to hear is I went to the new place and it's just not the same. And
Yeah.
that's how you start to lose it. I've worked at a few places that were expansion driven or secondary concepts, and the owners didn't put themselves into that other project as much, where they were such a big draw for the initial concept that it was a big reason that it didn't go through, because a part of it was, you want to come in, you want to be Norm from Cheers. You want someone to say, "Hey, here's your beer," or "I know how you want your steak cooked," or you want that personal touch that you got with the first place. When you start the other one, and it's just, oh, well, they have the same colors and the same menu. That's great. It's not going to be successful. There has to be a human element to it. There has to be the hospitality, and it still has to have that same je ne sais quoi that brought people and kept people coming to your first place.
Dude threw in some French. Je ne sais quoi. I love it. Uh, that's awesome. Man, that's freaking incredible. What a man. That's good stuff, dude. You just nailed in just a few short minutes the difference between growing and succeeding and growing and having it bring down. I mean, a lot of people, that second location takes down the first one with it. you know?
100%.
Yeah.
I've seen it too often.
Um, I'm going to respect your time here. We'll wrap this up. I am curious, what point of sale do y'all use, Ross?
We use focus.
You do. Oh, duh. That's right. That's how we got this. Right. Yes. Done. Okay.
Yeah, and
Forgot.
that's exactly how we're on this podcast right now. Yeah, I saw the little notification that you guys integrate
Yeah.
with Focus, and Focus is a legacy system that's been around forever and ever, and there are a lot of you know new players, and you got Toast and all of these things, but Focus is just one of those systems that just works. It kills the game. It's very easy to use. It doesn't go offline if your internet clicks out for 10 seconds. But anyway, yeah, I saw the little notification that you guys integrate with Focus, and yeah, so I just asked if it costs anything, or what it took, and fortunately in Oklahoma City, the guys that we use Bistro Tech are just fantastic. And it took literally a phone call, and they're like, "Oh, okay, cool. Let me take over your screen." And I think we were integrated within about 5 minutes. That's how easy it was.
Will you introduce me to the guys at Bistro Tech?
Of course.
I want, because one of the things that we're trying to do, like we do have that integration, and everybody that, it's interesting. Like you always hear about Toast and all this stuff and all these flashy new ones, but Focus has got like 10,000 restaurants and their customers are happy. And they say what you just said. It's kind of like schedule fly. Like it just works, right? It does
Yes.
the job. And then if you need something, they pick up the phone. Um, and so one of my current initiatives is that I really want us to get to know all of the dealers. Um, because I don't think most, like, we're sort of like a speakeasy, man, like to use restaurant terms.
Yeah. Yeah.
People don't know about Schedule Fly. When they do, they love it and they tell their friends, but most people don't know that we exist. And
Right.
one way to create more awareness is to go to focus dealers and build a relationship with them so that when they're meeting with their customers or their prospective customers, that they say, you know, look, we've got this great scheduling software and it integrates and it's simple and they take good care of their customers. Like, it's kind of a no brainer. I just need to get to know all these dealers. So I'd love
Well,
a,
yeah, that's a perfect symbiotic relationship because that definitely helps them to sell their platform. Because a few years back with another restaurant that I was involved with, we had Focus and we had a consultant come on, um, a consultant and yeah, I mean whatever that means. But his mission was to spend a lot more money and not make as much in profit, and that didn't really work out. But he switched us over to Toast because of all the integrations, right?
Mhm.
You know, because at the time it's like, hey, online orders and all, you know, and it does Toast does a lot of things really well. It does a lot of things, a lot of things. It's kind of like I guess the best way that I could liken it is you can buy a refrigerator with you know, a TV and a radio and it has Siri and it has all this and it does a lot of things, but that's just more things to break down. That's just giving you more opportunity to fail. Whenever the internet goes out, then it has to restart the system and all that. The focus is it's just a really nice stainless steel refrigerator. You know, it's really nice and it's going to last forever. It's like schedule. I mean, it's just there's just you know they just work and you can depend on them. So that would definitely help. And Focus has started to catch up, being a legacy system with their integration, and now they integrate with Uber Eats and DoorDash and all that, and it just kind of goes through the printers. You're not having to have a tablet and print something up, or so it's definitely catching up and meeting in the middle with the newer, flashier systems.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. I don't know. The toast stuff is a lot of people are moving to that, but boy, they get you dialed in with everything in one place. And then you gotta be careful with those contracts because you're not getting out of that thing and they start
It's
turning,
absurd.
yeah,
I
they start
mean,
turning those knobs and like used to cost
it
this
is
much and now it's a little bit more for this it's like you got to be careful of that stuff. People, you know,
when they started. That is a company I would say that did not really follow the growth and expansion pattern. They started off, I mean, it was pretty nice. I mean, now it is crazy. Every tablet is a monthly subscription. Every bell, every whistle is accounted for, and you can really quickly be up to about $900 a month with that.
yeah.
And it is wild. We had it whenever we took this restaurant over and we switched back to Focus, and I'm much happier with Focus.
There you go. Amen. Last thing I'll ask you and I'll let you go. Um, have you by chance heard of this company called Food Service IQ?
No.
They're spend 5 minutes on their website. It's foodserviceiq.com. They are helping restaurants save on food costs by it's not a group purchasing organization, but they negotiate directly with manufacturers. I I've been really impressed. I've introduced them to some customers, and those customers have signed up. Because I like I talked to them, I was like, this sounds really cool, but I don't know. Like, so I get them in touch with customers, and they're like, yeah, this is very innovative. This is very cool. we're signing up. So essentially if they don't save you at least, I think it's like if they don't save you at least 2%, they don't even make any money.
Oh, wow.
But they're averaging between 5 and 7% food cost savings with their customers. And if you go to
Oh, wow.
foodserviceiq.com, probably the most compelling thing is there's like 3 or 4 little like 1 minute testimonial videos of like pretty significant restaurants that use that. Black's Barbecue down in Austin, which is apparently been around forever, and they're like, yeah, this is the real deal. So I just mentioned that because I think we're kind of vetting that to potentially introduce our customer base to them, because we think it's something that might, with all these rising food costs, if they can help, we'd love to connect them with our customers. So I'd be curious when you check it out what you think, and just let me know. And if you want to talk to them,
Yeah.
touch with them.
Yeah, that sounds great. Hey, I'm always trying to build a better mousetrap.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Check them out and let me know.
Good deal.
All right. We will wrap this up, dude. Man, well, listen, Ross, I may get to meet you in person because, at some point in the next, let's say 6 months, I need to make a trip to Oklahoma City. So when I get those dates dialed in, I will be in touch. And
Great.
unless you're out of town or something,
Hey,
man,
that'd be great.
I'd love to come hang out with you.
100%, man. That'd be fantastic.
All right. Good talking to you. Thank you. Thank you all for listening. And as I've been doing lately, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm reminding myself every time, if you're listening to this podcast and you like this podcast, please go give us a rating on iTunes or, Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen. Give us a 5-star rating. It helps even more if you put a comment in there, because the more ratings and comments we get, the more the algorithms decide people should hear this and this is good content. And so they put it in front of more people. We are a top 5 restaurant owner podcast. We're super thrilled about that. We'd love to be a top 3 or a top 2 or a top 1. So the more ratings we get, the more likely that'll happen. We appreciate y'all for listening. More episodes coming soon. And that is a wrap. We'll see you.